Hello internet people! How are you at the other end of the screen there? I'm talking today about a very important issue, which is, of course, who won the giveaway last week. Well, if you watch until the end, please do. Then you will find out, fingers crossed, that it's you. I'm actually just kidding. The very important issue that we're talking about today is animal testing. So I do get asked quite frequently by patients and also by you guys at home, can I have this procedure or this product if I'm vegan or if I want something that's cruelty-free? And the honest answer is it kind of depends where your line is. So I think the first thing to do is to make some distinctions. I'm going to be talking here mainly about injectables, so that's going to be Botox and dermal fillers. And let's just take the Botox issue first because they're quite different. As you know, Botox is classified as a drug, as a medicine, not a medical device. So the rules and regulations behind it are quite different to those behind dermal fillers. I think the first thing to say about Botox is that many of the brands, in fact pretty much all of them with the exception of one Chinese brand which we don't get over here, contain human serum albumin. So strictly speaking, it's not a vegan product. It doesn't contain any animal products, but it does have this thing which you find in human blood. Why does it have that? Well, it helps the Botox stick to the end of the nerve so that it works. And if it wasn't there, then the Botox wouldn't work. So it's kind of important to have that there. Someone asked me the other week, actually, because they read about this online. Well, if there's some human blood component in there, is there a risk that I could develop something later on, like, I don't know, CJD? And the donors of this serum albumin, they're all tracked like in intense detail. So there have been never any documented cases of any sort of transmission of any blood-borne diseases occurring in this way. And we're talking like really tiny amounts that are used. It's not much. It's like, you know, salt-based style, just a little bit. Can't believe I just said that. The only botulinum toxin products that don't contain the human serum albumin instead contain one from cows. So that's not a great alternative if you're looking for something which is vegan. The names of those, we don't have them in the UK, so I'm just going to read them to you. And sorry if my pronunciation sucks, but it's called Lantox, and that's Chinese. It's also sold as Prosigny in Brazil. Over here in the UK we have Botox, Botox and Azalur, otherwise known as Vistabel, Xeomin and Dysport. But yeah, they all contain this human serum albumin. So what if you're cool with the human serum albumin? What about the animal testing aspects of these things? Well, again, it kind of depends. So in the manufacturer of any pharmaceutical product, say we are talking about Botox here, it's kind of already been done. Do you know what I mean? So they don't need to test that on animals again. It's over, it's finished with. Like, they know how much this particular brand uses for this particular outcome. It used to be that each batch, when it was manufactured, would have to be checked with what's called an LD50, lethal dose 50, which looks at how much of the drug is used to kill 50% of a number of rodents. Fortunately, that is no longer necessary because the manufacturers have found that there's a way to do an assay which doesn't use any animal testing at all, and it's been approved by the regulators in Europe. So that's great. We can use that instead. So basically, if you are fine with it containing human serum albumin and you're fine with it having previously been tested, but knowing that it doesn't need to be tested every single time that it's manufactured, then yes, you can have it. Obviously, at some point, the manufacturers will probably need to go back, and I don't know, if it's for a new indication, then they'll need to retest. If there's a change to the formulation, then they'll need to retest. But it's not going to be something which is ongoing. Back in the day when collagen was a thing, and remember, we don't really use collagen anymore, that was popular, you know, like seriously back in the 90s, and people would have to have a skin test beforehand. That was all derived from cows, and there was a high risk that you could be allergic to it. That was why you needed to have a skin test first, but that's kind of over now. I know a lot of people still refer to dermal filler injections like collagen injections, but the reality is actually we haven't used collagen for years, so man, you've got to keep up. Hyaluronic acid dermal fillers, I'm referring to brands like Juvederm, Restylane, Alexin, Bellatero, Stillage. While they wouldn't test on animals for the continued manufacturer of a product, it is likely that at some point in the future, for future product development, yes, that would happen. So it's the same kind of thing as Botox. There's no reason to test it on an animal when you're kind of continually manufacturing the same thing. They have microbiological assays which are used instead to check the fillers are fine. Why would you test on an animal if you don't have to do that? That's a real dick move. Why? But it's just for a new product, then sure, yeah, maybe again. So really, it's really personal as to whether or not you are cool with this. When we're talking about other fillers, like for example, the ones which contain polymethyl methacrylate beads, it's about the carrier that comes in. So sometimes that's carried using bovine collagen, so collagen from cows, which obviously makes it vegan, and it depends on the brand as to whether or not yours would be considered to be vegan or not. But same thing as to whether or not it's really like a cruelty-free product. It's very easy to say, oh, okay, I'm not going to have any injectables like Botox or dermal fillers because at some point these things were tested on animals. Well, the reality is that everything at some point was tested using an animal model, whether it's microneedling or radiofrequency, ultrasound, chemical peels, like whatever. It will have at some point all been tested on an animal. Even microneedling, so one particular brand of derma roller, say, may not test on animals. However, at some point, the technology behind that, behind the roller, the technology behind needling has been tested on an animal. You can go on to PubMed, which is a resource that we use to basically comb through medical literature in the medical journals, and you can see the abstracts of pretty much anything that's ever been published. And there are lots and lots of different journals which have published trials, for example, looking at microneedling and, you know, looking to see how much collagen is produced with this kind of needling or that kind of needling. How do you think they get that information? They don't usually test these things on people. They're usually testing them on an animal in some way. Thread lifting, same thing. So you'll see that they're tested for biocompatibility, for example, on animal models. Even platelet-rich plasma, which is from you. So the actual platelet-rich plasma that we use when we're injecting it back into the patient, it's autologous so it's from the patient. However, the technology behind it, that centrifuge, that kit, that system, in order to become certified, it will have been tested on an animal at some point during its product development. So you guys, you've just got to decide for yourselves, like, what level of cruelty-freeness are you fine with? Is it fine for it to have been previously tested? Because, you know, like most things will have been previously tested. Like the fire retardant on this sofa will have been previously tested. Or is that not fine with you? Are you going to like literally try and be as cruelty-free as possible? Or if that's fine, do you not want to have, for example, human serum albumin inside the Botox, but fillers are fine for you, or vice versa? I think it's quite an interesting subject, actually. But remember that in many cases, the manufacturers of these products, they're kind of bound by the individual countries' guidelines that they're sold in. So, for example, the reason why the LD50 level had to be checked on each batch of Botox that was produced was because that's what the country it was being sold in asked for. Otherwise they couldn't sell their products. It's not really up to the manufacturers to decide something like that. Sure, they then developed this non-animal model assay which replaced that, but you can't blame the manufacturer for just complying with that specific country's guidelines. You know, I had this conversation with someone recently, and they were like, oh, well, you know, obviously that's very disappointing that they're continued to test on animals. Yeah, dude, it's not the manufacturer who is deciding that. It's the country which the product is sold in. So be disappointed all you like with the manufacturer. It's not their fault. So guys, I'm sorry if that was like a bit of a downer today. It's quite a hard subject, isn't it, to talk about this kind of thing, because it is something which it's kind of necessary, but nobody ever really wants to discuss. You know, it's all very like, oh yeah, look how glamorous we are with our lovely juicy dermal fillered lips and, you know, lovely hydrated skin and all that stuff. But the reality is that, yeah, this stuff, it does happen. And I guess if I think about it from my point of view, if I'm gonna have an injection done, have a drug injected into my body, of course I want to know that it's safe, that it's been proven to be biocompatible, and that I'm not going to have any nasty side effects as a result. Yeah, I guess that's where I stand on the subject. I have a friend who's vegan, and she has injectables because, you know, at the end of the day, if she was sick, I know this is different, so, you know, don't all like jump down in the comments, it's not the same thing. I know it's not the same thing, but I'm just trying to draw a parallel, kind of. You know, if she was sick, then you wouldn't want to use any drug which hadn't been adequately tested. You feel me? So, on to happier and more exciting news. Who won the giveaway? Christina AA. It's you. Please email us. The details are below. She said, oh, Bodyshoccer serum. Sounds lovely and effective. You're right, Christina, it is. But I've also heard wonders about the HA Intensifier and the Fresh Cleanser. I mean, they're all great picks. Love how informative your channel is. Well, thank you very much. That just gives me the glow. And hopefully you'll have the glow as well once you've been using all these products. Don't worry, guys, if you didn't win this time, we are 100% going to do another giveaway, because I've, you know, got literally like stacks of skincare knocking around. So I may as well give some of it away to you lovely people. That's it, guys. No more chat from me now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to come back next week, and I'm going to be talking about French skincare, because I did another, yes, another haul. So check me out. And obviously don't forget to do that whole, you know, like, comment and subscribing thing. Or, you know, don't, but it would be awesome if you did. So see you later.
You're looking like a movie star, but I know just what you are. Seems like your type to be on the floor. You're looking for a kind of queen, the baddest one you've ever seen. You're shining bright as crystal, moving like a twister.